So, I'm glad you came out here now to talk to me on this, because we're trying to listen to hear the views of people about wind energy. We know there's a lot of people with genuine concerns about wind energy in Ireland, and we want to kind of find out what the reasons are and why you're concerned, you know, and what the solutions to all of this are, you know. So, John, hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Right.
Well, you go first.
Yeah. Well, we feel, having studied the situation, and that wind turbine or turbine technology and wind power is a basically flawed technology and will not last. It's due to the fact that it's intermittent and unreliable, and we do not see a long-term future for wind power in Ireland or in anywhere. And I think the world is beginning to catch on to this fact, because if you take any system throughout the world, you want reliability and continuity, and all the power stations that have been built so far are reliable and continuous. This what the unreliability and the intermittency means is that all this turbine power that you see has to have gas or some other form standing by, kicking in, kicking out in tandem. As the wind power goes down, the gas power comes up, and vice versa. So basically you have two systems, and depending on conditions, one of them is predominating or the other is predominating.
Yes, because wind speed varies, and wind
speed
will turn off if there's none, and
Yeah.
then it will come on. And of course, and what's your future? By the way, where do you both live? Or how close are you
Well,
to the wind
I
turbine?
live in Cron,
Yeah.
and Michael
Cron.
lives in Road.
Which is how far roughly away?
It's about 6 to 7 mile away from
Okay.
here, as on the road.
Yeah. And is it just this wind farm you're concerned about, or is it
No.
other wind farms?
What the communities are concerned about is the amount of wind farms that are going up. We've been told that in this area that Boardamona plan to put in 600 wind turbines, and this is what communities are afraid of. Communities are not being communicated with, they're not being told what's going on. Wind turbines have been built 500 metres away from people's houses. We as a group have no issue with wind turbines going up. We know there is a place for wind power, but what we are afraid of is the wind companies being able to build the wind turbines where they like.
And is it developers you're concerned with, or utilities, or who are you really concerned about? Is it politicians? Is it government? You know?
We have problems with politicians and the companies, because they don't seem to be taking into concerns of anybody's views or position where their houses are in the area.
Yes. And for example, with this wind farm here, were you consulted on
No.
this? No.
We didn't even know this wind farm was going up until we actually seen the trucks, or we heard about the trucks coming in.
And were the people close by? You know, we passed now the road down here from Edenderry to Dangan, and there's a lot of houses facing onto the wind turbines there. Were they consulted, do you think?
No.
And what do you think should happen there, Michael? I mean, what, in terms of a process, what's wrong with the process there in terms of public participation and information? And
Well, the process seems to be that it's all decided, that the government is pushing this policy, and they're going to come whether we like it or not. Objections are being sent in all over the country. The concerns of people are being brushed aside, and the turbines, the farms are being built in spite of opposition. There's a lot of cases going to the High Court now on this. Now, what I would say is that up to probably 2000, there were genuine concerns about the rural landscape, the rural communities, in one-off housing, in all sorts of planning around the rural areas. There was a huge regard for the rural nature of the countryside, and this was preserved in planning law, and it was very strict, and people were refused houses all over the country because it would simply impinge on the rural nature of the landscape. And now, in the space of a few years, landscape is worthless. It's there for the taking all over the country. This is what we don't like.
is landscape your biggest concern? Is
Yes,
it the
landscape is
visual
one.
appearance?
Yeah.
Is that your, yeah? Are you, is that
Yes,
the
It's
biggest
not-
one?
It's one of the biggest.
Okay. What other ones would you add to that?
Well, there are health reasons being brought up. But again, communities aren't being communicated with, and we don't know what the health reasons are. We have been told that we have problems with flicker, noise, ultrasound, that is. And it's also, there's families in this area with children that have autism, and we were told that ultrasound has an effect on these children, and they are not being brought into concern.
Right. And when you talk about infrasound, or you know, ultrasound,
Yeah.
infrasound, is it? Or
Yeah.
ultrasound? I think infrasound.
Infrasound,
This is
yeah.
low frequency sound.
Low frequency
which
sound.
you're concerned about that from wind turbines. And why from wind turbines, by the way? What is it about wind turbines and infrasound? You know, because infrasound is all around us. You know, every traffic is one of the biggest sources of infrasound. You know, and it's sound that penetrates. You know, I mean, our heartbeat is infrasound. We hear our heartbeat. You know, why wind turbines?
Well, I'll take more details.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be qualified in the sense of having studied sound engineering, but I've listened to experts, and there is a sound tunnel behind each wind turbine, carrying the noise of the impact on the air with the blades, the gearboxes, and this rolls back and forth in tandem with the wind direction. And if you happen to be in that wind sound tunnel, you will hear it.
Well, if you take here, Michael, now, we've got the wind is blowing from the turbines now towards us, roughly, isn't it? It's blowing this way, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're what, half a kilometre less from here, probably, in that order of distance, I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't measured, but I think we can measure that. We can put measurements on it. But you can hear the swish of the blades,
Yeah.
yeah? You know, if we listen for a second, would that be of concern at that distance, that sound? And especially at night time when you're sleeping, is that an issue?
Yeah, well, it is an issue for some people that they find it hard to sleep with that sound. That's a continuous sound.
But would you
24
find
hours.
that loud now, or just, I mean, compared to traffic?
Yeah. Well, I've come up here a number of occasions and just got out of my car to listen to it. And where I live over in Croghan.
Yeah.
And sometimes at night time I actually go out and be out in the garden and it's complete silence. It's absolutely fabulous. But having that sound, if you live beside these turbines and having that sound 24 hours a day, I think people would have an effect on them in their sleep and their way of living.
Can I ask, is a lot of the problem here that these are imposed on you
Yeah.
without your knowledge and without you being part of the decision-making process and in deciding where the turbines go, where they're sited? Is that a big issue for you?
Yeah. I think we should be told where the turbines are going. Again, it's distance from people's houses, and that's what we're concerned with.